What's up, everybody? Straw hats are cool. Back again with another video. Today we will be taking a look at the Yamato deck I've been messing around with on the sim. So far the deck has been pretty good. Been liking this build a lot. I actually think Yamato has quite a bit of a potential in the current format. But before we get into today's video, as always, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. You all mean the world to me. And as of the time of this recording, we are at 360 subscribers. So getting pretty close to 400. So like I said in the last video, we will be doing another giveaway for 2 more starter decks once we get to 400. And with the giveaway in mind, we are going to be announcing today's winner. Going to be putting that up on the screen now. So big congratulations to Too Rare to Die. You were the winner of the first giveaway. There were 38 unique entries in last week's giveaway. So thank you all so much to everyone who participated. I hope you stick around and participate in the giveaway for when we get to 400. But again, congratulations to Too Rare to Die. If you see this video, please find me on Twitter. I should have it linked in the comments, but if not, my Twitter is also linked on my channel. So send me a message on Twitter and we will get the shipping for you arranged. Again, congratulations to Too Rare to Die, and thank you to everyone who participated in the giveaway. With that, let's get into the video. So this is a Yamato deck. Yamato is the new leader from Starter Deck 9. She is a monocolored yellow leader with 5,000 power and 5 starting life, with the effect Dawn 1 on your opponent's turn. While your life area has 2 or less life cards, your leader gains plus 1,000 power. So this is a pretty strong effect, especially into decks like Zoro, who really rely on using smaller bodies to swing into your opponent's life. This just forces them to commit an extra Dawn to each one of those attackers. So it's a pretty generic effect, but like I said, it is quite strong, especially against decks like Zoro. I also think it fares pretty well into Law. And this yellow deck is unique in that when compared to other decks, this one I think actually wants to go first, or it does, at least the way I've built the deck. So with that, let's get into the card by card. So first up, we've got Sanji. Sanji is a 2k counter with 2 cost and 3,000 power. Got the effect that Dawn 2, when attacking, you may add the top or bottom card of your life to your hands, and then you add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to your life. So it's essentially card draw, since you're adding 1 card from the top or bottom of your life to your hand, and then replacing that life card with a card from the top of your deck. So the effect's actually pretty good, but he's mostly just here as a 2k counter. Generally speaking, you don't want to be playing Sanji, but if you are in a position where you need to play one of your 2k counters, Sanji's the one you want to have to play, because like I said, it's essentially card draw, and that's always good. Next up, 2 copies of Opera. Opera is just a vanilla 4 cost 6k with 1,000 counter, and the Big Mom Pirates type. So not a whole lot to say here. Those of you who are looking ahead might be wondering why we've got 2 copies of Peckham's instead of just 4 Opera. But we'll get to the explanation on that here shortly. Moving on, we've got 4 copies of Charlotte Cracker. 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter. The effect Dawn 1. While you have less life than your opponent, this character gains double attack and plus 1,000 power. Also has the trigger, you may discard 1 card from your hand and play this card. So most of us are probably familiar with Cracker at this point. Cracker is a very powerful card that has been seeing a lot of play in most yellow decks. So really not a whole lot to say, but one thing to keep in mind if you didn't know, I've probably said this before, but his Dawn 1 effect is not limited to just your turn. So on your opponent's turn, if your Cracker has a Dawn on him and you have less life than your opponent, then he does still get that extra plus 1000 power, which can catch some opponents off guard if they aren't aware of that. So he is still a 6k if you're behind on life. So that is something to keep in mind. Generally speaking, at this point, your opponent's going to play around Crackers, so you probably won't be able to get a lot of value out of the double attack and plus 1000 power, but it does force your opponent to play around it, so still a really good card nonetheless. We got 4 copies of Pudding. Pudding is our searcher of choice for the deck. Just your generic 1 cost, 2000 power searcher, 1000 counter. Only real thing of note is that you do only get to look at the top 4 cards with Pudding, as opposed to 5 with most of the red searchers. You get a Big Mom Pirates type card other than Pudding, or a Sanji character. So, you know, just your run-of-the-mill searcher adds consistency to our deck. All decks that are running the Big Mom Pirates package should be running 4 copies of Pudding. Same thing could be said about Sparrow, which is the next card we're going to be getting into. 3 cost, 5000 power, no counter, has the effect on KO. Look at 3 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Big Mom Pirates type card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest on the bottom of your deck. So, again, another searcher in a way, but also a 5k body. Nice thing about Sparrow is that at some point or another, your opponent is probably going to have to deal with it, and when they do, you still usually get a card out of it. So, any Big Mom Pirates type cards that can be events as well. And this one does not restrict itself or Pudding, so any card with the Big Mom Pirates type can be collected off of Sparrow's KO effect. Next up, 4 copies of Strucen. Strucen is a 1 cost, 1000 power character with 2k counter. On play, you may trash 1 card with Trigger from your hand, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. So, I've never had to play this card, but I think between the 3k counters or the 2k counters in the deck, this is the one that you're probably second most likely to play to Sanji, which might sound weird, but against decks like Law, sometimes if they've just got 1 blocker or one of their 1 cost blockers that's stopping you from getting the game, you can play Strucen if you've got a card with Trigger in your hand to KO that blocker for 1 cost. And sometimes that can mean the difference between getting the game and not. So Strucen's always one to keep in mind in those matchups. But generally speaking, he's just a 2k counter with the Big Mom Pirates type. So next up, we have 3 copies of Charlotte Katakuri. It's a card that I personally have mixed feelings about. I'm not the biggest fan of this card in any yellow deck, to be honest with you, but he's a strong card nonetheless, and he does come up. So 8 cost, 8000 power, no counter. On play, put up to 1 character with a cost of 8 or less on the top or bottom of its owner's life area face up. So you can choose either your or your opponent's characters, and you're removing them from the board, but you're essentially healing. So if you use it in one of your characters, you're healing yourself. If you use it on one of your opponents, you're removing a threat, but giving them an additional life. So I have found that personally, I think Katakuri is better when you can use it to heal yourself. Just get a big body and heal yourself. I think we're not playing Shirahoshi in this deck, but using it to put a Shirahoshi on top of your life is really good. But I also like just putting puddings on top of my life. Give me another life, and then once I take it, I've got a searcher for the following turn. But outside of that, unless it's a really big threat, I don't like using it on my opponent's characters. Sometimes when you're ahead it can be good, but I feel like this is not a card that saves you when you're behind, and that's what I don't really like about it. But still a good card, and that's why we're playing 3 copies. Next up, we've got the starter deck Katakuri, 4 cost, 6,000 power, no counter. On play, look at up to 1 card from the top of your life, or your opponent's life area, and you may leave it on the top or put it on the bottom of the life area. And then if you have less life cards than your opponent, he gains rush. So just another 4/6, but get some upside when you play him at the cost of the 1k counter like Opera. But he's been pretty good. Having access to rush, even if it's only when you're behind on life, is good. And being able to even just have the information of what's at the top of your life can be really helpful when you're making certain decisions. So Katakuri's been good. I like the 4 cost, 6,000 power stat line. I think it's one of the best stat lines in the game, especially with decks like Whitebeard, which are really good. Being a natural 6,000 power is good. Next up, we've got Pudding. This is the 2k counter Pudding from the starter deck. 2 cost, 3,000 power, and as mentioned earlier, 2,000 counter. On play, look at 1 card from the top of your or your opponent's life area and put it on the top or bottom of the life area. So same as the first effect on the Katakuri, but on our 2k counter. If you're playing Pudding, you're probably losing the game. The only time I feel like this will ever come up is if you need bodies to contest Zorro's board and you've got nothing else. This is not a card you want to be playing. It's just here as a 2k counter. And while our searcher can't grab this Pudding because it is also named Pudding, it can be grabbed off of the Sparrow, so do keep that in mind. Next up, 4 copies of starter deck Charlotte Linlin. This is a 7 cost, 8,000 power character. With the on play, your opponent chooses one of the following effects. Trash 1 life card from the top of your opponent's life area, or put 1 card from the top of your deck on top of your life area. So when this card hits the field, your opponent has to decide, are you going to burn one of their life, or are you going to let your opponent heal 1? So either way is pretty good for you. The only real way to play around this is if your opponent is at no life, they can still choose to burn a life. Then since they have no life, it essentially negates the effect. This is the main top end card of our deck. This is what we want to be seeing on curve. Like I mentioned, this is a deck I think likes going first. So if you can play this on curve on your 7th on turn, you're pretty happy. Next up, 2 copies of Peckham's 3 cost, 5,000 power vanilla with 1k counter. Now, the reason I'm playing Peckham's is because, like I keep saying, I think this deck wants to go first, and it's just another turn 2 play going first. Ideally, we're playing Sparrow, but I wanted to increase the odds of having something we can play on turn 2 going first, so I decided to split the lineup between Opera and Sparrow and just go 2 and 2 rather than all in on either of them. Like I said, ideally we want Sparrow, but we're not always going to have Sparrow, so just having Peckham's is another option I've been liking. Next up, 2 copies of the starter deck Yamato. This is the 2k counter Yamato, 3 cost, 3,000 power. At the effect, when attacking, you may add the top or bottom card of your life area to your hand, and then this character gains plus 2,000 power until the start of your next turn. So you do keep the buff on your opponent's turn, but this is a card you don't want to be playing either. Kind of like Pudding. It's a 2k counter, and it's here to be used as a 2k counter. The only time you'll probably be playing this is, again, against Zorro if you are lacking board presence and need something to contest their board. But otherwise, you should just keep this in hand as a 2-hit counter. It's not a good card to be playing. The effect is okay, but having to take a life card is a pretty heavy cost. Next up, we have another Yamato. 4 copies of the 5,700 power Yamato with 1k counter. This is just a vanilla character, but really good stat line, and again, we can play it on curve going first. So this is, like mentioned this in the last video, I expect that we will be seeing a lot more of this Yamato in the remainder of this format leading up to the release of OPO4. But come the release of OPO4, this card will be replaced by Randolph, which is essentially the same thing with the Big Mom Pirates typing. So it's just searchable off of your Pudding and Parosparrow, so it's just objectively better than the Yamato. But until then, I expect us to see Yamato in quite a few yellow decks until then. Next up, we've got our events. 2 copies of Ikaku Sovereignty. This is a 2-cost event with counter up to one of your leader or characters gains plus 5,000 power during this turn. So 5,000 power is huge, and for 2 Dawn, this is incredible. It also has the trigger. You may discard 2 cards from your hand, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. The trigger doesn't come up too often, but sometimes if your hand is just stacked with cards without counter, like your Big Moms or Katakuris, you can trigger this, just pitch some of those dead cards, give yourself another life. Sometimes when it's the last life, it can just win you the game. Your opponent might have lethal, you don't have the counter, but getting yourself another life gets you there if they've only got 1 attacker left. Now, last 4 cards of the deck are the Nari Kabura Arrow. Probably said that wrong, so I apologize for that. This is one of the new events from the starter deck 9. 1 cost, counter. If your life has 2, if you have 2 or less cards in your life, give up to one of your opponent's leaders or characters minus 3,000 power during this turn. This card is surprisingly good, especially against leaders like Rob Lucci and Kid, or characters like the 8-cost Odin, which are able to restand and attack a second time. This minus 3,000 power sticks with them, so it makes it undesirable to attack with them a second time. Also has the same trigger as Kaku Sovereignty. So that is the list. I've been really liking this list. If I was to change anything, I might just swap one of the Nari Kabura Arrow for another Sovereignty and just go 3/3. I think that might be good. Other than that, I've been pretty happy with this build. We're going to be showing it off in some games here shortly. But before we get into it, I just want to say one more time, thank you to everyone who's been subscribing to the channel, liking the videos. It really means a lot to me. With that, let's get into the gameplay. Alright, we have got a game against Kinemon. My opponent is going to choose to go second, as a Kinemon player should. They get to play things like their Okiku on turn 1 now, which is really good for them. I've not got any turn 1 or turn 2 plays, but I do have the Yamato and Big Mom. Really good top deck there. Parosparrow is now going to be our turn 2 play for sure. So this is kind of the curve we're talking about. Parosparrow, Yamato, Linlin. So glad we're going to get to showcase that here. So they do unfortunately have the Kiku turn 1. So that is annoying for us. So let's see what they do here. They're going to use their effect to reduce the cost of Yamato and play her for 3. Gonna rest our Parasparrow, which is annoying. So they're gonna swing 6 into Parasparrow, and I think we're just gonna let them go. They can swing again with their Kiku, and I don't want to drop my whole hand. Only choices here are the Katakuris. Neither of them are particularly good right now, but I think I'm probably gonna take the 8 just in case. I don't feel like the 8 cost is gonna be very good in this matchup, but we'll see. So opponent is just going to decide to pass, leaving the Okiku active, which is probably a good decision. Just going to make it really hard for me to clear their board now. One thing you might be wondering is why I'm not playing any copies of Thunderbolt. Personally, I feel like if you're going to play Thunderbolt, you need to play 4, and it's not a card I ever want to play from hand. So I've just decided not to play it, but it's definitely something you could find room for. So we're just going to play the Yamato and pass back to our opponent, see what they do here. So they're going to be attaching 1 and swinging 6. We will probably just take that one. Haven't taken any life yet, so maybe we can get a trigger. Just a 2k counter, which is fine. Our opponent is now got 5 remaining Dawn. They don't have access to their leader effect right now, so anything they play will have to be for the full cost, as they do have more than 1 character. So they're going to be putting everything on their Yamato and attacking my Yamato. So I think we're just going to have to let Yamato go, which is a little annoying. They are keeping our board under control. Swinging 5, we will counter. We do get to play Linlin now, which should be hard for them to deal with, and they are probably going to give us a life for it. But we'll attack the Kiku, get a card, and yeah, they do give us the life off of the Linlin, so not too bad. They do have a much larger board than us, like I was saying, but I don't feel too bad right now. We'll see where things go from here. Got, what is that, their 8th on turn now, so we could see something like Odin come down. We see Odin though, we probably can just afford to play the Katakuri to get rid of him. So they're gonna swing 5. I think we'll give him Yamato. I don't want to take the 5s that easily. Gonna swing 6. Take. We do trigger Cracker here. We're definitely gonna trigger him. Just deciding which Katakuri we discard. Probably should keep the 8, but I don't know. I'm really not a fan of him, so I think we're gonna get rid of the 8. If they play Odin, they play Odin. So let's see. The trigger is definitely going to help us out here. They do play Odin, and again, they are leaving the Okiku active. Probably smart. They don't want us to get our Crackers effect to go live. So let's just swing 8 at the Yamato, see if we can get a couple cards from them for that. Do they protect? Gonna demand a 2k and a 1 at the very least. And then if they counter, which they do, we can just put Sundown on the leader and do it again. They are gonna let it go. Let's play the Katakuri now. Maybe I should have saved the other Katakuri. Could have just, I mean, I probably wouldn't have been able to clear the other Yamato if I did, but now we do have to deal with the Odin, which is scary. I'm just going to attack with the Cracker because they can just rest it with the Okiku, so they are only at 3 cards, so they do take it. So we are ahead, but they might just try and clear our board, which shouldn't be too hard for them to do right now. We got a lot of counter in hand, but we've not really got anything going on, which is not great for us. We'll see what our opponent does here. 10 Dawn to work with. Gonna start with 5 at Cracker. Do think I'm going to counter out of that one. I don't want them to be able to go all in on, like, just clear my whole board so easily. If they get that for essentially free, they can just go all in on my Big Mom with the Odin. And I'm probably just gonna have to let her go. So now they're gonna be putting a couple Dawn on the Yamato for the Okiku. I will just let him go now. Probably gonna see some Dawn on the Odin. They could go for the Big Mom, but it's probably smarter to just clear the Katakuri at this point. It's easier for me to defend the Big Mom. There's just swinging 9 at the Big Mom, which feels like a bit of a mistake. I can just give him 2 for that. I'm gonna restand. Now they're putting another Dawn on. That feels like a bit of a mistake for my opponent. If you're gonna put another Dawn on Odin, you may as well do it from the start. Could have forced my whole hand out that way. Now I've still got an extra 2k. So definitely think that that was a mistake from my opponent. They are leaving 1 Dawn up. Probably means they've got a Paradise Waterfall. I don't really know why you'd leave that up here. It's not like they've got anything great to restand. I guess if I go after their Okiku, they could block and restand it. So let's just go for life then. See, maybe they'll block it, and then we can go all in on the Yamato or on the Okiku. Because I've not really got anything else to do. We will for sure leave 1 Dawn up for the arrow, which we know is in our life, just in case. I do think I'm going to leave Big Mom up here. I've got a small hand right now, and I don't want to lose the Big Mom. I think she's going to be important for closing out the game. So we're just going to attack big into the Okiku. If they counter out, it's going to cost them their whole hand, so I feel like they've just got to let her go. Green's not really known for having a bunch of 2Ks either, so I doubt that they can protect. They do just let her go. So we are technically ahead on both board presence and life, but my opponent has the hand advantage, which I think is the most important thing to be advantaged in this game. So they can use their leader effect if they've got something to play. Curious to see what my opponent does here. I feel like they're probably going to go after a Katakuri. I'm not sure what else they will do. We really wouldn't want to see an 8-cost kid. That could be really bad. So they are just going to clear the Katakuri. So you have to let him go. Restand. Got 5 Dawn left. Just swing a 5. I feel like I just take it. That's the arrow. So our leader effect is lying now. Playing the blocker law and then just passing. That's interesting. I feel like They could have afforded to just attack with the Odin there. Definitely would have had to take it. So, still don't really have any plays, so I'm just going to split my Don up between Yamato and Big Mom. Do a couple big swings. See if we can get him to block. So it's going to be 2 11s. We'll take. And take. So I think if they just had attacked with the Odin first, we had a chance, or we wouldn't have really had much of a chance, but they didn't, so giving us a bit of a chance to get back in it. No counter on that life, which is not great. Swinging 5, and I do record these games before the audio. I do make a mistake here. I do end up giving them a 2K counter for this when I was a 6K leader. I think this was the first game I played with the Yamato deck, so don't do what I did. Could have kept that 2K in hand for sure. So real bad misplay from me. Like I always say, I think I'm a good player, not a great player, and we're not perfect. Everyone makes mistakes, so if you want to flame me in the comments, by all means, but come on, I'm sure you've made mistakes too. Going in at 11. I wonder why they didn't just go in at 12. I think I'm just going to take it, though. We should have enough counter to get out, even if they do decide to add that extra down in the end. Could trigger it, but I don't need to. So I don't think I will. Let them think they can go for game. Because I have enough counter to get out of it, even after my mistake. So, yes, they do have the Paradise, and they're leaving that up. Counter, just in case. But if they had the Paradise, I feel like it's a guaranteed win on the next turn if they don't attack with the Law. So we're going to attack with the Big Mom first, because if we attack 5, they can just restand the Law with Paradise. This way, unless they've got enough counter, we should win. And they do not. So only got 15. So we were able to get there. I definitely made a couple mistakes, and my opponent definitely should have left the Law up. But I guess I'm a gorilla brain player. GG's. Sorry that you're toxic like that. We both definitely misplayed. So if I'm gorilla brained, I think we're both gorilla brained. My opponent leaves Law up there as a blocker. I can't afford to go all in. They did have a lot of counter, so with what I had on board, I don't feel like there's any way I could have won if they left the Law up. So if you run into my video, Jimmy Jet Pistol, you know, I think you could have got it, but maybe I'm wrong. All right, let's get on to the next game. All right, we've got a match against Eustace Kid. Another green matchup. There's a lot of green today. I'm gonna go second this time. Opponent chooses to go first. We are gonna play Pudding to grab the Parasparrow. So opponent is looking to be playing the Film Kid variant. So we will see how this goes. I think Film Kid could be scary if they're able to build their wall. We're just gonna attack for 5, and I think play the Katakuri, just get a bigger body on board maybe. We're not behind on life, so I guess we should have played him first. Mistake again. Hope you guys stick around. I am making some mistakes today. But, you know, we'll see how things go. Maybe I wanted to leave him active. Let's go with that. I'm just going to leave the Yamato on the life. See what our opponent does here. So Brook with Nami. They can't get the search with that extra Dawn. They do get their Luffy for next turn, so quite the scary board my opponent's getting already. And we'll take that one. I could just play both Arrow Sparrows here, which wouldn't be terrible, I don't think. Attack the Usopp, see what they do. Could also just go 5s and then 1 on Kana for 7 and play the Yamato, which might be a little better. So you just let it go. We will do 7 and play the Yamato. So we got some bodies to contest the Luffy if they play it this turn. And if they do play it this turn, they've not got anything to attack into our Katakuri because they will have to tap out for it. We'll be able to get some 5k swings in, however. So, could just give him Cracker. I don't think Cracker's great here anymore. They do attack with the Nami. Would have thought about leaving her up just since we can't get the search. So, I will take that one. And we'll counter the kid. So, I've got quite the board now. Let's start with 7 and Nami. See if we can get him to block. Or give us a couple cards. I feel like you can just block and give a 1k though. Yep. We can go 1 on Katakuri. Or just 6. I'll give a 2k. I guess I do want to be able to have my leader go live, so we'll do 2 6s to go. And now we play Big Mom. They do trash. So we've also got a pretty nice board right now. We've got more big bodies than our opponent, but they've got some Dawn right now. Do just seem 7, and with leader effect active, I can just give a 2k for that. Give a 1 for that. And I don't think they know what the leader does because they just swing a 5. I mean, I didn't know what my leader did last game. I countered out of an attack I didn't need to. So, I guess I'm not in a position to talk. And they're just going to get rid of the Brook to play another Nami. Do they search? They do. So my opponent has a small hand now. So I feel like now, despite the fact that I'm behind on board now, I can kind of just go for their board. Swing 7. Maybe even 8. I could just swing 6, see if they block. Do they block? They do. So now, maybe I should put it on. I don't know. Now I can just go 6 into the Zoro. You know they've got a 2k. I feel like that's not too bad. We're gonna go 8. Let's see if they give us 2. They probably won't. If they do, they reach down to Luffy, which is annoying. Now they've got no hand, basically. So now I feel like I can go 9 into the Luffy. It's rested. We'll have to let him go. And I could go 9 into the Zoro, which they'd also probably let go. Then we could play Sparrow, or even Cracker, since we'll probably end up behind on life. I feel like if we stay alive, we were actually okay since they've not got any hand left. Probably do just play the Cracker. Maybe, I guess we do want the counter just in case. They could just do some big attacks with their leader. In which case, we're in a bit of trouble. I think we're not so good. We could just lose if they go for life. Maybe we get an arrow in life, so we do have the one done up. But we shall see what they do. I am a 6K leader, so it actually does force them to commit to their 5K, so maybe not as bad as I thought. I gotta remember what my leader does. This is only my second game with the deck. So far, it's been pretty good. Got the first one. Opponent is thinking awful hard here. Only got 2 cards though, so their options are pretty limited. Can I go 7 into the Kata? Just let it go. Yeah. Could have given them a 2K for it, but I feel like I need to save that to protect my bigger bodies. They are going for my board. And we're just gonna let it go. We do need to keep some cards in our hand. I think this is actually better for us though. Now they're going for life. They will counter Cracker. Not gonna be playing him. I think I'll take Katakuri. It's actually pretty good. I can put the pudding into my life now. Probably clear their board. Did leave a lot of Dawn active though. So we should swing with the Sparrow first into the Nami. I think is probably the right thing to do because they could have a Gibson. So we want to be able to attack with our Sparrow. And if they don't have any other counters, they might not use the Gibson to protect the Nami. Could also be bluffing. They do let her go. Oh, we probably want to put one down on leader still. We swing 9. Could just go after Brook too. It's probably guaranteed. We can do 1 on Yamato with life. Then I guess we could still be in trouble if we play Katakuri to heal though. Because they can still double attack, but we're gonna go for it. We could just heal them. Well, then they can just double attack and I lose, so I think this has to be the play. Because there's no way I can counter out of 12-12. I guess that last life could be an arrow or something of the like. We can take that because I probably should have just swung 7 and committed more to their kid since they can double attack with him. I think well, maybe they could have gone 8, but I don't know. Now I can just counter out of that pretty easily. and I've got 2 8K attacks on the board, so I think we can just go 9-9-4-9s, right? Shouldn't be any way out of that. Attack with our big bodies first, just in case they get a Gibson. Because it doesn't really matter if they get a Gibson. So that's going to be that game. It's looking pretty scary. I think my opponent probably could have won that one again, but they decided to go for board. So we got it. Let's get another game. All right, we are up against Katakuri. I'm going to choose to go second just so that my opponent can't. We do have our perfect curve here. I think we're just going to take the Strusen 2K off the pudding. It's probably the play. 3 Strusen already. So next turn we can swing 6 and play Sparrow. Then 6 and Yamato. And then 6 and Big Mom. So another Big Mom is actually pretty good. Sovereignty is not too bad either. They do just hard play a Brûlée, which isn't great for them. So no trigger. It's good. I swing 5. I think I'm just gonna give them a 2. Don't want to give them the Yamato. I want to play that. Got their own Yamato. So let's go attack Sparrow first in case of Thunderbolt. Six cards in opponent's hand. Don't have a lot of counter right now, which isn't great. But we are going to be ahead on board, so they might end up just attacking our Sparrow. Probably will. We do have a large hand size, which is intimidating, so probably won't feel too comfortable swinging at life. Not sure whether they want to counter this one. What is that? Thinking real hard about it. I'm trying to think what. It's only the second life. You could just take it. I'd probably counter this one. Take the next one. So they will counter with Cracker. And now we will swing a 6. I feel like maybe they could even play Cracker last turn, wouldn't have been too bad. Trigger Shirahoshi. Could be good for them. They were thinking pretty hard about countering out there, so maybe they've got a lot of dead cards in hand. Also, Shirahoshi's a great card now that they can just heal on top if they've got Katakuri. Fishing a Brûlée and Daifuku. So those cards have counter. Probably would have pitched Daifuku over Cracker to the counter. So maybe even Brûlée. She's not great to play. They are going after Sparrow. Can die. We could grab Pudding or Katakuri. Let's grab the Katakuri. I think the yellow mirrors often come down to who can play more big bodies. They have access to the 10 cost, which we don't. So we do want to be pressuring their life as much as we can early. And having back-to-back 7 moms is going to be pretty good. Wouldn't be able to leave Dawn on leader, but next turn, actually we're going second. So we can play 1 next turn and 1 the following turn, and then still have a Dawn on leader and leave 2 up for the sovereignty. That's gonna be pretty good. So we're gonna be able to go 6-7 next turn. Probably just ignore the Yamato. We'll take this hit. Maybe they've got a Parasparrow now. So they looked at my life, I think. And they left it. So just a pudding. And it is another Brule. So they got a lot of blockers. Swing 5. Could have swung 6, but now we've got the pudding. So I'll probably just play the pudding. And then the Big Mom. They're going to block that one. Play pudding. Nothing great there. Guess we'll grab another Sovereignty. And then the Big Mom. They are going to let us heal. So, don't know about that, but I'm okay with it. Makes me feel better about not putting the Dawn on Yamato, since we probably won't be getting to 2 this turn. And honestly, all they've got's the Yamato. I can let mine go, and then contest their Yamato maybe next turn. I almost feel like I can just ignore it though. Because next turn we can just go 6, 8, play another Mom. Well, they don't attack my life. Maybe we just go 5, 9. Don't really need the Dawn on Yamato. We'll have the 5k counter up. All of their board is small, so I'm not really scared. Again, it makes even against decks, even like this, now they're forced. I mean, they weren't forced to attack 6 there, but it does like force them to commit more to their attacks when we're at 2. They don't have a lot going on, so they are just attacking with the pudding. So, just gonna take Packham's. Don't need him. Clear the pudding. Try and clear Yamato. Gave us a life last time, so they might even give us another life this time. Dude just gonna play the Big Mom. They are letting us heal again. Forgot to attack with my leader there. Definitely could have just swung 5. Golly. I made a lot of mistakes when I was recording these. But, hey, if I can make mistakes and win, that still shows the deck's pretty good, right? Maybe. Maybe I'm just playing against not great players too. So it looks like this is a 10 Mom. So we will counter that. Take the 7. I feel like we're so far ahead though. Even if they do play the Mom. We can trigger that. Crash one of the Sovereignties. Katakuri. Just trash Katakuri. So we're just playing the Big Mom. It is getting a little scary, but we are at 2 now, so we can put a Dawn on Yamato. Have leader go live. Again though, they've not got much of a board, so we're just gonna try and clear theirs. We can clear the pudding with our pudding. And then we've got 8 Dawn left. We're behind on life, so we could go 5. We go 7, 7. Should have enough. Or we could go 6, 7, I think, is what we got Dawn for. My board's just so much better than my opponent's. We can still leave up the sovereignty, so we should be safe from lethal. Sanji, they can have. And if they go for my board, I'm gonna just protect it. Got a lot of counter in hand. If they go for the big moms, we protect them. Probably let Katakuri or Perospero go. Definitely let Perospero go. He just gets me more cards. So, if I have another big mom, it's not great. But it might be worse. If we play another big mom, we can counter out of the 5 with Opera. And then we might just take the 12. And then next turn we can just leave up a bunch of events, but they are going to be swinging 8. Yes. They don't have another big mom. Do you want to take this? I feel like I can, but we will counter. They can't win this turn, I don't think. They are going to heal themselves. Then what will Big Mom attack? They're going to leave Big Mom active. So they must not have much counter. Because I'd have to invest a lot to get rid of Big Mom. Maybe that's why they're healing the Shirahoshi. But I feel like you need to take the next hit. Could just do 3 on pudding. Swing another 5. We'll swing 6. I got a 2. Swing 6. Now we can swing 5. They have to take it. We can go 5, 8, 9. That's not right. Well then. Must be bugged. Okay. Well, I don't know. I feel like I'm still okay. Okay, my opponent's gonna be cool and plays if only they have. But I guess they do kind of get to choose what card from those 4 they use. So, still not great, but I think I'm fine. The lightning bolt. It's a little annoying. But that means they should only have 1 still. Now I've got a bunch of events up. They've only got 1 life to my 2. And I've got 13, 16k in counter. 2 life. I think we'll be okay. I feel like I can't afford to go for my board here. They're probably just going to try and go for game. And I can let them think that they are safe by taking the hits. Ooh. Trigger Perospero. I don't need to. But we will. Just trash the Yamato. Now we should be pretty secured for closing out the game. Next turn. But we'll see what my opponent decides to do. I really can't see a world where they win. So I'm at 6 naturally right now. 10k with the 2 sovereignties. Like, there's just no way. They can't get 2 attacks through. So we'll just see what my opponent does. But I think we're locked up. We're just going to take this. That way they feel like they can go for game and they don't try and commit to blockers. They've already played 2 Brule and trashed 1, I think. So they could have the 4th, but now they're just going to go for game. And all we need is a sovereignty and the arrow. We still had 7k in counter. And now we can just swing. So that's the Katakuri matchup. We'll give them the rematch. I think yellow mirrors are good ones to showcase. Katakuri's a popular deck too, so if you take Yamato to locals, I think it'll be a good kind of showcase. Opponent does get to go second this time, so good to show off how that changes things as well. No pudding, but we do have the Parasparrow turn 2, which is ultimately what we want. So we can just attack 5 and then play the Parasparrow. They trigger their own Parasparrow, so pretty good start for them. Didn't have any turn 1 plays, but that's kind of to be expected. I will take, I think. No point in countering now. I'm gonna swing 7. I think I'll take that one as well. Pudding is not bad, but we're just gonna play the Yamato. Question is, do I go for their Parasparrow? I feel like yes. I'd rather than give me cards. Good. I am behind on life, so we couldn't play the Katakuri actually. I feel like you can go to the bottom. Give me the Parasparrow for 7. Now we just go 5. Let us Drusen off the Parasparrow. That's 2 triggers in a row for them. It's not looking good for us. It's not looking good. We got a very defensive hand right now, though. Lots of 2Ks. So, fortunately, they do not have the double attack live on the Cracker. So that's nice for us. We don't have our Big Mom, which is annoying. I kind of feel like I need to protect him. If I don't, my board's just going, they're just gonna outpace me in the board. I got more cards than them though. I think I will. Counter. Give them putting Cracker. Six. Counter. Okay, now they're going for the Parasparrow, which I think I can let go. Maybe we can find the Big Mom. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Another Parasparrow. Okay, this finding the Big Mom really might save us here. Let's do 5 into the cracker. We've got a small hand. I'll protect it. Go 5 into the or 6 into the cracker now. See if they give us another 2K. Let's go. Actually, we're gonna go 7. And then nothing great there. Take the Parasparrow. I'm gonna play the Yamato. So play the Big Mom next turn now. Just give it 2. Let it go. 6 Dawn. Though I do go live on my leader next turn, so we will just let it go through. That way, we can save the 2Ks for when we're at 6K. I feel like I could just leave the Parasparrows because if they play 10 Mom, oh, that sucks. Man, their triggers are baller this game. But if we ignore the Parasparrows, as long as we've got Dawn on leader, like playing Big Mom into us sucks because all those natural 5Ks can't attack us now. So now we're gonna play the Big Mom. Really wish the Yamato didn't get hit with the Thunderbolt there. I feel like we still got a good shot in this game, so I feel like we're really getting to showcase the power of Yamato here. Opponents had crazy triggers, and we're able to stay in it. Like I said, even if they play the 10 Mom, I mean, honestly, if they play the 10 Mom, we probably lose. Because even though they can't attack us this turn, we probably won't be able to win next turn if they do. But they don't have it, so nice. I guess this is only fair, though. They've had crazy triggers. Just give the Yamato. Juicy Katakuri. Okay. Another Big Mom's good. We could just play it, see if they trash the life, and we could go all in with the Yamato. Just try and go. They're gonna let us heal though. Let's just attack the life, counter. Well, I don't think they can win now. They got 4 life. I feel like they kind of needed to. If they had the counter, I feel like they had to trash the last life there in order to have a chance, because now I've got 4 life and they've only got 4 attackers. They need all 4 to go through. We can just take these hits. And then with 2 cards in hand, just trash one. With 2 cards, now they've only got 1 card in hand, so I can go 5 on Pudding, 2 on Yamato. We can go 5. We'd go 7 with Pudding first. We get a trigger. So now it's like guaranteed. So we just put 1 on Cracker, swing 7 since we're behind. We have to take it. No, they're saying they didn't mean to attack with the cut, but like I said, even if I didn't get the trigger there, I could go 5 Dawn on Pudding, which they'd have to take. And we attack with Pudding first, that way in case they get a Thunderbolt again. We got the attack off with her already. And then if it's a Brule, I still have 2 attackers and they'd only have 1 card in hand if they trigger. If they don't trigger, the 7 goes through and I still have 6 Dawn left, so I can put 1 on Big Mom, 4 on Yamato, and go 9-9, and it's still guaranteed. So, didn't matter what my opponent did there, or if I got the trigger, the game was locked up with what I had on board. So, GG's to my opponent. I think this is going to wrap things up for me today. Thank you so much for watching as always. And I think this week I'm going to be doing 2 sim videos as opposed to the 2 tabletop gameplay videos because the editing on the gameplay videos takes a lot of time. It takes me most of a day to get one of those done. And since school's starting back up, I don't have as much time to be editing the videos. But as always, if you enjoyed the videos, please do consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. We'll be doing another giveaway for 2 more starter decks once we get to 400, so look forward to that. Next video, or next sim video, we'll be showing off the Luffy starter deck, so hope you are looking forward to that. And with that, I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.